Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, you know, when you say take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad is, we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. D.C., 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. Is that where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America, really. It's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with D.C., and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead, with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, you know, they love to spit in the face of the police. As the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime. Totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody transgender. And they just got walloped in an election, in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day the certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody come. Nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say, we only have 30 policemen or women. He said, we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to just take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a 1/4 of an inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him, most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department, okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police, and those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy, because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of, essentially, military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed. By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in, it's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them, are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the D.C. streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people here. Nothing, you know. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. So, just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control, and they started trying to rip down statues, and I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast, but we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, you know, it was harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others, and they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They're going to do a big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated. We made it use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch, so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were 2 ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope. But everybody just left, and that was the last problem we ever had. You know, that was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild, and somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact because you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on. You know, if I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad, so I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position. Because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington's name. This was a sick, woke culture that I think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category. But they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country, and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day, and I said, what a beautiful place. But if there's crime all over the streets, when you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful. But we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime, and we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels and all of the things they've done to hurt this city. And we're going to restore the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants it to be. It's going to be something very special. All of these people are really tough. Could I shake your hand, Gaddy, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. You know, they want to be safe, and they have families too. So it's an honor to have such a large group. I've done this for years now, hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact, I'm sure it's a violation of every fire code. but we'll let you stay anyway. You're taking a chance. And with that, we'll say, maybe if you could, oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If we could keep the first questions, perhaps, to this subject, and then we'll go on to a few others. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Can you talk about how personal of an issue this is? We talked about flying over the Washington Monument and seeing the pride of what D.C. is, and do you believe that the status of the city, the cleanliness, the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the Capitol, look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great thing. They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world right now. The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars with Pakistan and India. We just solved one. Azerbaijan and, as you know, and Armenia. A war was raging for 37 years. And the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. They've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years, one was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war. And you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them done. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, the metal things that are always. Somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken and bad, but here they're really bad. And we're going to either put new or fix it. And it's not expensive. It's not really expensive. And we're going to fix our roads a little bit. We're going to clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday, the people go out and they wash their sidewalks in front of their stores or their houses. They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet, I don't think. Gaddy, we're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But we're going to make it clean. But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of our country. And when they see a bad city, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart, and he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in, because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us. So it's a very good question, actually.
Mr. President, sorry. Question for you on the specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action what we've seen in DC? And the other question, sir, there's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children, but we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next, I would say, over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things, but for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, I mean, we're just going to see what happens with it all. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll clean up, and maybe they'll do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem. I mean, if you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today, and if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful. I have zero doubt about that. It's going to be. It's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. Everyone said, they used to say, Biden used to say, I need legislation. I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people, and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great. As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did a great job. There's no games. They didn't play games. And we're going to have the same thing here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at L.A., if we didn't go to L.A. 3 months ago, L.A. would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems, let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into L.A. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it. We have it coming down. But hopefully L.A.'s watching. That mayor also. The city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there. And I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. Their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing. It was like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered. Almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately, Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street, and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding their homes then and there. And the mayor said, we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years? Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately. 2 years. And she drew it back. Well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about this is among the most beautiful areas in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get, and it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, they had tremendous They loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff, and some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods, was incredible. And you know what? I watch people on television, they want to go, they want to leave. They've lost their spirit, they've lost their heart, because the mayor's incompetent, and Gavin Newsom is incompetent. Got a good line of but that's about it. He's incompetent. And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there, and I said I won't be president when it comes. But bad things happened, and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things, and I hope 250 is going to be the 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people, and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.